Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. See my dance moves, man. Nobody can copy it, man. Don't even try, bro. But, man, as you guys know, we do have the first, knockout portion of the Fischer Random World Championship, also known as Chess 9LX or Chess 960. So, I went to the first matchup for Wesley So, and it is Wesley So versus Hjorvar Gretarsson. Yeah, I had to kind of work on that. I have never spoke Icelandic, but the good thing about it is Norwegian, Finnish, Swedish, Dutch, they're all really very similar languages, so it doesn't take a whole long time to get it hooked up. But, of course, for all my people in the Philippines, I will say mabuhay to you. Let me see, it is super morning, so magandang umaga to you. Maraming salamat po sa nanonood ng aking video, aking mga kaibigan. Thank you very much. Anybody who is coming from Iceland, I will say hello and tak Finnish. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. But yeah, man, if you guys are ready to go, let's take a look, see what we got for this game, homie. All right, so as you guys know, okay, backing up. As you guys know, this is Chess 960. And, for any of you that might be wondering why the board is set up so weird, it is because the whole idea of Chess 960, it kind of does away with like all the theory in the opening of the game. And I mean, there are 960 different positions that these pieces can be set up in, allowing for castling and things of that nature. And you do have to make sure that each bishop is on its own color. So you can't put both bishops on the same color type situation. So you end up with 960 different positions. That's why you see these pieces looking kind of weird. But moving forward, I think most people know that. We do see the move d4, and we got d5 by black. And of course, we are not going to have a novelty because, of course, like, they don't really have databases yet for, Chess 960. They probably will at some point, though. So we will probably be able to get to a novelty. But, all of the fundamentals and understanding of the game is all the same. Basically, you want to control the center. You want to develop your pieces. You don't want to just fling your queen out in the middle of nowhere type situation for no reason. So it's going to all pretty much still be understood as far as what you should and shouldn't kind of do. To a point, it is a little bit more difficult to understand exactly what you should be doing as far as this is concerned. But we do see, like I said, d4, d5. We're just grabbing some center. Black is basically trying to prevent what white is trying to do. White ultimately wants to have e4, d4 set up. And then that just kind of allows you to see the queen and the bishops and everything. If we can get e4, d4, the bishops are just like perfectly great. And the queen is good and everything. You get castled everything. So, I mean, that's ultimately what white is going to want. So black is trying to play against that. So we do see the move knight to c3. And I think this position is interesting because this is kind of like a reverse e4, e5, knight to f3 type situation. It's kind of on the other side of the board. Of course, with the pieces being mixed up. But we do see the move c6. We got e4, pawn takes e4, knight takes e4, and then we've kind of got into like a Carol Khan type thing. If you did want to try to label it something, it would be kind of like a reverse, of just a regular king's pawn with knight to f3 and maybe kind of a Carol Khan situation, resembling those type situations. So we do see the move bishop to b6. Of course, black is like, bro, your pawn is out here just living his best life on his own. So I'm going to attack it. So we do see the move c3. We got knight to d7, and then we do have queen to e2. And this is like a little bit of a tricky move. We are hoping that, black kind of forgets tactics, and we are able to deliver this knight to d6 with check, forcing the king to slide over to d8. But black is kind of gangster himself, so he goes bishop to c7. Making sure that you do not have the ability to do that. And then we do see castling by white. And for those of you that are not super familiar with Chess 960 and the rules as it comes to castling, the major thing of the situation is, I mean, of course, it looks a lot more complicated than regular chess. Like, regular chess, you have this specific, setup. You kind of get a couple pieces out and you castle, things like that. Okay, so basically, when you're thinking of Chess 960, if you castle on the king side or the queen side, you are going to be placing the king and the rook in the same exact squares as you would if you were playing regular chess. The only things that you have to be making sure of is, in this particular situation, that this square and this square, or this square and this square, which are the squares that you actually, no, hold on. This square, and then this square, this square. So, of course, this side is going to be king side castling. This side is going to be queen side castling. we always have to make sure that those squares are completely clear of any other pieces. So I think that some of you guys might have looked at it and it looked kind of strange how you kind of castled next to this knight. This knight does not have any influence on the castling squares where the king and the rook are going to end up. So you have to just make sure that those two squares are clear. You also have to make sure, so if you're thinking about like on a, queen side castling, you have to make sure these bishops are moved because since the king and the rook are going to be on these squares when queen side castling occurs, you have to make sure that all three of these squares are completely cleared out of pieces so that you can castle. So of course, if you have like, this type of a situation and you're wanting to castle and this bishop is in the way, you have to make sure you get everything moved. So as far as I'm aware, those are the complete rules. So, after you play the game for a little bit, you kind of get an understanding of kind of like the rules and like, what situations and stuff like that you can kind of castle in. But I'm going to be honest with you, when I first started playing Chess 960, I was really frustrated because I couldn't understand how you're supposed to castle, bro. So I feel you. If you play Chess 960 and you just cannot understand how to castle, I feel your pain for real. But anyways, going forward, we do see the move knight to f6. We got knight h to g3. We're just trying to, create some more support for our knight here. And then we do have the move h5, which this is actually an unfortunate blunder because it does just give away the pawn in several different ways. First of all, you have knight takes f6, which is what Wesley so finds in the game. And you can, pretty much the only way to take back is g takes f6. And then you just basically just gave up your pawn. The major thing that you have to think about is the fact that this queen doesn't really have the ability to come anywhere because this square is taken control by the knight. And then this square, of course, the bishop is controlling it. So, you don't really have a good way to exploit the fact that this knight is kind of on the side of the board. Also, you have to be looking at knight takes f6 with check because of the pin on this pawn. That is going to be a really, really nice fork. So in light of that, we do see king going to d8. We got bishop to f4. Because white is up a pawn, they are wanting to just, they want to trade down. Because you're just going to have probably a more beneficial endgame, right? So we do see knight to g6. We got bishop taking c7 with check, the king taking c7, and then we do see queen going to e3. We're trying to get the queen out of the way of that bishop in case we want to develop somewhere along this diagonal. So the bishop does come to e6, and then this is Wesley So's opportunity again to say, hey, bro, I'm up material. Let's trade. And so we do see Gretarsson, obliging him in that respect. Pawn takes b3, pawn takes bishop takes b3, pawn takes b3, and then we do have rook over to h8. And you can definitely care about this knight, but you can also be super gangster like Wesley So and just say, forget the knight. I don't even care, bro. First, we got queen to g3 with check, and then that causes the king to go down to b6. And we have actually reached the point in the game that if you do want to pause the video and guess and see what move Wesley So comes up with in this position, go ahead and do so. Okay, so basically, like I said, you don't even care about the knight, bro, because, this king is in a really, really tight box. You do have this diagonal completely covered. You got this file completely covered. Pretty much king to b6 is the only move you can make in the position at the moment for the king. So we notice that the king is really restricted, so we do make the move c4, which is what Wesley So played in the game. And we see the move a6 by Gretarsson. Now, the thing about it that you have to think about is if you just start saying, hey, bro, he hung his knight, you would be absolutely incorrect. This is mating completely. Rook takes h5, and you do see the move c5. And you have two options. You can either take the pawn with the rook, or you can move the king down and get yourself mated. After queen to d3, king to b4, and then rook over to a4, and that's checkmate. So if you just get hungry for knights, but we do not see that. Like I said, we do see the move a6. And this causes some problems of its own. We do see the move c5, which looks like, hey, man, a6 gives me some room with my king, right? Absolutely not the complete case. We do see king to a7. And we have another point that if you do want to pause the video and guess and see what white plays in this position, go ahead and do so. Yep, you guessed it. Rook takes a6 with check. I think it's actually a pretty easy move to find. There really isn't a whole lot of other moves in the position. I think maybe some of you might have guessed queen to c7, which is a move as well. And it pretty much, comes with the same exact idea after the queen goes, to c7. You are going to have to find this sacrifice, and the sacrifice is actually rook takes a6 with check. It is actually in this position that Gretarsson does resign the game, and it's because everything is completely mating. Like I said, you could have always gone queen to c7 first, and then sacrificed the rook and swung the other rook over. Either way you wanted to do it would have been fine. So if you did guess queen to c7, that would be an alternate move that is definitely acceptable. But in this position, I mean, you have two options. You're going to take with the king or take with the pawn. You take with the king, you got rook over to a1, king to b5, you got queen to d3 with check, king down to b4, and then you do see queen to c4 with checkmate. If you did decide that you wanted to take the other course of action and go here, pawn takes a6, you would be looking at queen to c7 with checkmate, and that is a done deal, son. So you guys can see this is a pretty short and sweet game. These games are actually really explosive due to the fact that, I mean, you can't really study any theory. So the game really roller coasters a lot, like the entire thing. So that was kind of like, you know, that was kind of, you know, Bobby Fischer's point when he made the game, that he didn't want it to be just all theory. So, I mean, it really's caught on for the past 26 years. I mean, they had been playing, you know, the Fischer Random, you know, setup world championship games and things like that. So it's actually gotten quite popular, so he'd be happy today if he was here. But anyways, man, that is that game. I really appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. You know, always when I'm taking my polls, man, let me know what you guys want to see. I will be kind of trying to focus on this a little bit more because this is an active tournament. But, you know, once these things kind of get over and we see who is the Fischer Random World Champion again, I will kind of start to poll you guys a little bit more to try to see kind of what you guys want. But I appreciate you guys very much. Tak Finish. Yes, and I'll see you guys next time.